Goodness, I didn't even start yet. Good morning. Have we any visitors this morning? No visitors? From where? Katanning? Oh, Cincinnati. Cincinnati. Well, it's okay. Where in Cincinnati do you live? Oh, by St. Gregory or by Mount St. Mary's, huh? Guardian Angels Parish. You wonder how I know that, right? I went to college there for a few years. So, anybody else? Okay. This morning in the Gospel, Jesus uses this little teaching. Jesus was a great psychologist, and he describes in this little brief parable our personal attitudes when it comes to doing God's will. The story was about a guy who had two sons, and he says to the one son, "Go out into the vineyard," and the son says, "I'm not going, forget it." But then he goes and thinks about it, and he comes back, and he does what the father had asked him. The other one is Eddie Haskell. And he says to his father, "Oh, sure, sir." Sir, he uses, "sir," and then doesn't go. Now, there have been times in our lives where we have been Eddie Haskell. A lot. Times when we make commitments and don't keep them. Times when we tell people what they want to hear, but not what the truth is. And if you apply this kind of image that Jesus talks about to relationships, you see how people run into difficulties, especially within marriages. Because if our communication isn't based on truth, then it's not communication at all. And so if I'm one who tells you what you want to hear, then you're not of very much use to me. Somebody once said that when a bishop is made, two things happen in their lives. No one ever tells them the truth again, and they never have a bad meal. It's important for us to be able to tell the truth. Now, neither of these young men communicated very well. The truth of the matter is this, that the younger man, or the first man who said he wouldn't go and then went anyway, we've done that, right? The guilt got to us, right? We got guilted by our mother, by our father, and we didn't think much about it. Well, the same is happening to these two young men. And the first one says, "I'm not going." And then he gets guilt, and then he goes. But it's important for us to realize that neither one of these two communicated with truth. Jesus says in the gospel somewhere, say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. Because anything else comes from the devil. Now, what could the first kid have done? He should have said, if he were truly communicating, if he had gone to my class, he should have said, "I don't want to go, but I will." Okay? And the second one should have said, "I'm not going," because he wasn't. But we play games with our language. We play games in our communications. We say yes when we don't mean yes. We say no when we don't mean no. And it's important for us, if we're going to experience the gospel in its fullness, to be truthful with God. You see, if we never know what we truly think, if we never know what we truly believe, then how do we know when we've sinned? Because sin means that I know what is wrong and I choose to do it anyway. But if I'm always finessing, you know, if I'm using my spirituality to do things like, well, you know, it's Friday, but if I just have a little bit of meat, you know, it won't matter. Or if I just have a few beers, when in fact you're having a six-pack. You see, we finesse the truth all the time. And in doing that, we lose the ability to respond both to others and to God in clarity and in truth. They say always that the first victim of war is truth, that no one tells the full truth again. We need to look at our lives, and we need to make sure that we communicate clearly, that we say yes when we mean yes and no when we mean no. Or we fall victim to what these two young men did. It's like when we say, oh yes, I'm a Catholic, but I don't go to church a lot. I don't give to the poor. I don't pray. Well, then how is it that you're a Catholic? Catholics pray, they worship. Catholics care for the poor. That's what Catholics are, by definition. So how can we say we're Catholic? We're like that young man who said, sure, I'll go to the vineyard, and had no intentions of going. Yeah, I'll be a Catholic, sure. But don't expect too much from me. We run into grave danger. You know, you can't get into heaven if you don't know your envelope number. Did you know that?